Now to the last soup, and that's fresh watercress, quite one of my favourite ones. First of all, take 2 bunches of watercress and reserve 1 or 2 of those nice pieces for the top, just the little sprigs. You could also take a few sprigs if you wanted to keep them to decorate a salad or something like that. Seems a shame to make soup of them. So there's some for the top. And then fry onion, 8 ounces of onion, which I've got finely chopped here, 8 ounces, and I've got 1½ ounces of butter. Now I do use butter because the buttery flavour really does come through. So fry that and make sure that it doesn't, in fact, colour. It wants to just be this lovely straw colour. Now in some soups you do want the onion to colour. If you're making French onion soup, that's one of the recipes in the book, you add a little bit of sugar to it, and then as you fry it, it becomes caramelised. So you can season it at this stage if you like, a little salt and pepper. And then we come to the thickening. It's 1½ ounces of flour, so that's 1 rounded tablespoon plus 1 level tablespoon. Much easier than weighing. Stir that, mix it well in, scrape across the bottom, otherwise it could catch later, so that's quite smooth. Then add the watercress, stalk and all. You might trim the very bottom of the watercress off, and then just pound that, press it down and turn it. Just mix it well together. And then we come to the stock part, and I'm using a pint of chicken stock. It's a nice jellied one. Now, you don't always have stock on hand or in the freezer, so you could use a stock cube and make it up with boiling water before you start. And if I were using a stock cube, I would use a chicken stock cube, because you don't want a strong beef flavour. But when you're using stock cubes, remember that they can be on the salty side, so go easy on the salt. So keep adding the stock little by little. Don't add it all at once, otherwise you'll end up with a lumpy soup. So go on adding that little by little until you've all the stock included. Then you want to stir it until it's thickened. Then add the milk, and always add the milk at the very end. And when it's all included, you want to cook it for 10 minutes. I'm going to leave that and show you one that I've already got to that stage. So I've got this one, and it's had 10 minutes cooking time, and as you can see, it is still bright green. If you cook watercress soup for longer than about 10 minutes, it will lose its colour, it won't be nearly as nutritious, it will have lost all its vitamin C, and it won't be so exciting to eat. So that's absolutely ready, except for pureeing. Now you can laboriously do that in a sieve, or you can put it in a processor or blender. And I have a processor, so it should make light work of it. Pour it all in, on with the lid, and reduce it to a puree. And puree it until it's nice and smooth, and then reheat it, and I've got some in a pan here, until piping hot, but don't let it stew, and pour it out. And then the garnish, a little of that fresh watercress. Now let me give you the recipe. 2 bunches of watercress, 1½ ounces of butter, and 8 ounces of onions finely chopped. And you fry the onions in the butter. Season with salt and pepper. Add 1½ ounces of flour. Then stir in 1 pint of stock. I use chicken stock. Remember to stir all the time. And then when it's thickened, stir in 1 pint of milk. Bring to the boil and simmer for 10 minutes, then puree, reheat and serve, and it'll serve 6 people. And now some good things to go with soup. Well, I expect you'll already make croutons, just little fried bread cubes, and they're simply lovely. Now, Melba toast, not everybody makes that, and it's so easy. Just toast bread, and while it's still hot, trim off the crusts And you must do this while it's hot, otherwise you won't be able to split it. Take a sharp knife and split down the middle while it's still warm, quite easy. You need thin sliced bread, right down, having split them in half, then cut them in half, and then you'll find in the middle, you just put those under the grill for a few moments and they will curl up and look like this, and they'll keep well in a tin. Then we've got French bread with a lovely cheesy topping. That's cheese, butter and garlic mixed together, spread on bread and toasted. And then we've got pinwheels. Take white bread and spread it with herb butter. That's butter and fresh herbs. And of course we all know about cheese straws. They're very good too. Now how about freezing all of these? Well, they all freeze except for the French bread.